Music video evaluation. Question 3. What have you learnt from your audience feedback? Dennis McQuail, 1972, describes audiences as temporary collectives. These are either niche or mass in terms of the consumption of media products. They are known as this because they only come together for a short period of time to consume a media product before fragmenting and returning to other activities. Furthermore, Julian McDougall, 2009, stated that due to the online age and the new methods of media distribution and consumption make it hard to call an audience as a stable, identifiable group. During pre-production for my product, I created a clear audience profile which identified the target age range, gender split and an imaginary entity, Ian Ang 1999/Invisible Fiction, John Hartley 1987, which allowed me to closely analyse and target my audience. I established that a target age range of 15 to 21-year-olds and an even gender split, 50% male and 50% female. This would work as I originally wanted to encode themes of development and progression into my music video, but this eventually evolved into using the concept of a teen breakup. I established that I wanted my product to be distributed on channels such as MTV Rocks during their alternative hour or Freshly Squeezed on Channel 4. Vivian Clark, 2007, then stated that it is very important for a media institution to carry out regular audience research, as preferences are constantly changing and trends could affect demand for a product or method of consumption. This is also relevant to audience feedback, as an institution must acquire feedback from its audience in order to review the effectiveness of a product. I distributed my entire package for my product on social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter, which meant I could interact with my peers and other teens within my target audience for the product and get their opinion of it. Daniel Chandler, 2002, stated that the introduction of a new media technology would significantly change society, which it did in regards to gaining feedback from my product, as I could interact with my audience on a new level and really communicate with them. The first ancillary product I created was a digipack, which consisted of 8 panels of album artwork, which I created using Adobe Photoshop CS5. I maintained the theme of parachutes throughout and kept a very naturalistic and simple colour scheme consistent throughout the 8 panels. In order to gain audience feedback for this product, I distributed it on social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter, both on my personal page, Ellie Greenfield, @EllieGraciePie, and on the official Facebook and Twitter fan sites of the artist, Tom Hemingway Music, which I created specifically to gain feedback on the product. So I decided to distribute the digipack on these pages to get the opinions from pre-existing fans of the artist, which include a range of ages and genders. This allowed me to get initial reactions from respondents, meaning I could change anything before sending the official survey off to be filled in by people in my target audience. I then created a questionnaire on www.surveymonkey.com, which allowed me to gain efficient and rapid responses which I could view visually in graph form or in percentages, allowing me to see directly how my work was received. This could then be turned into pie charts, which allowed me to clearly organise the data I had received and see the views of my audience. The feedback was distributed predominantly on social media, Facebook, Twitter, which worked well considering my target audience was 15 to 21-year-olds and predominantly digital natives. Due to this, the feedback I got was mainly sourced from my target audience. However, in order to get a much wider range of feedback, I also emailed the product to relatives of mine, such as my parents, to get their thoughts and opinions. Obviously, this was partially biased feedback, so I needed to ask a wider sample of those who were outside my target age range. In order to do this, I showed the digipack to some of my friends' parents and asked them to fill in a short survey afterwards about certain aspects of the product, such as the colour scheme, verisimilitude, and promotional intention. The feedback I received allowed me to see how my digipack would appeal to a wider audience and has the potential to become a mainstream product. Furthermore, the feedback I received allowed me to discover how I would promote, market and advertise such a product, such as on which channels, during what programming and at what time. This was heavily influenced by the response of older participants. After presenting my feedback visually, I was able to interpret my feedback much easier. The surveys I sent out were predominantly scale questions which ran 1 to 5, 1 being the lesser and 5 being the highest. The first question was how appealing does this product look to a potential audience member, 1 being not at all and 5 being thoroughly. Here are the statistics for this question. As shown here, one person rated the digipack 2 out of 5, suggesting they did not think the product was too visually appealing. I predict this is due to the extreme juxtaposition of the inside and outside covers in regards to colour scheme. The outside covers are quite neutral, and this completely opposes the inside covers, which are bright and loud. This was done intentionally to connote the artist's personality, as he appears quite shy and reserved, yet releases his talent and ability through his music. 3 people then stated that this is averagely aesthetically appealing, rating it as 3 out of 5. The majority of respondents rated this product 4 out of 5, stating that it was visually appealing, yet only gaining a 4 out of 5 response for this suggested that some work on the colours and aesthetics could have been provided. The second most popular answer given was 7 respondents gave my digipack 5 out of 5. Due to the highest number of participants rating the product either a 4 or a 5, I did not feel like any extra work had to be done and I successfully created an appealing piece of work. Throughout the rest of this survey, I noticed that this became a pattern, and the masses of my respondents rated the product as either 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. This meant I had succeeded in the creation of the product and no major work was required. However, only a few minor tweaks could be made to boost the product into a mainly 5 out of 5. Due to surveys being quantitative data, I was unable to see what was required to boost the product, so this was down to my own opinion of what needed changing. Because of this, I decided that I would distribute this product on Facebook so I could reach a mass audience quickly and efficiently. To do this, I posted the digipack image with the template to make the logistics easier for an audience to understand, onto both my personal Facebook page to reach a much broader audience and on the artist fan page in persona of the artist. One respondent of this post stated that the inside covers looked very atmospheric, which was intentional, as we wanted it to have a very 60s vibe to it, and for the colours to give it a very peaceful atmosphere. I then received other feedback from another candidate in which she stated that the font was a little difficult to read. This meant I could go on Adobe Photoshop CS5 and amend the opacity. I found that after this, many people gave my product a higher rating. Also, in order to gain yet more feedback and responses on my survey for this product, I set up a Facebook private message in which I selected people that I thought would give honest feedback which would allow me to improve my work. Here is an example. I also distributed this product on Twitter. I currently have 121 followers, which meant that all these individuals could see my digipack and most of these are within my target audience. The purpose of putting this onto Twitter was not necessarily to gain feedback, but more to just distribute my product. However, I received a couple of comments about my work which were not giving direction for improvement but were rather just discussing the product. The second ancillary product I created was a promotional poster for the upcoming album of my artist. Due to this being a print product similar to the digipack, I distributed this and gained feedback in a very similar way. I initially distributed this on social networking sites, Facebook/Twitter, which allowed me to get instant feedback from my audience and widely distribute my product to people of the appropriate age. I again distributed this on both my personal page and that of the artist. This meant not only my friends could see this, but also fans of the artist. I followed the same procedure for this as I did with my digipack, as this appeared to be effective and helped me acquire a large amount of feedback and comments. One public comment I received for this product was that the positioning of the reviews were incorrect and needed moving slightly. This was the type of feedback which was beneficial for me to gain prior to sending my surveys out, as this could have easily affected the realism and professionalism of my product, bringing some of the responses down slightly. Once I gained initial feedback, I sent the survey out to the focus group that I had created previously. These were quick to respond and gave honest, trustworthy answers. I sent this survey out using a private message feed on Facebook and sent out tweets asking my followers to view the product and fill in the survey. I did, however, forget to mention that it was the same survey and that if they had already completed it, they would be unable to do so again. The questions used for this survey were exactly the same as those I used for my digipack survey. This meant I could see a clear correlation between the two products and see which was the strongest, meaning I could make changes to the weaker product to make it match the other. The feedback I gained from the surveys differed from that I got from the digipack, as I noticed that 5 out of 5 was the most popular answer on every single question. This immediately suggested that this was the stronger ancillary product and required fewer amendments. One of the highest 5 out of 5 scoring questions was question 3, which asked about the colour scheme was in keeping with the rest of the package and created synergy throughout. 11 out of a potential 14 stated that this reigned true on my poster, which encouraged me to match the colours between my digipack and poster more precisely to create a clear link and brand. The other highest scoring question was question 6, which asked about the professionalism and realism of the poster. This again gathered 11 out of 14 respondents, giving the product 5 out of 5 for professionalism and looking realistic. This correlated with the digipack feedback, as this also gained the highest number of respondents selecting 5 out of 5. This therefore led me to believe that my product does look real and professional, meaning I had to ensure this verisimilitude continued onto my video product from my ancillaries by using similar themes, colours and presentation devices. I also manually acquired feedback for this product by talking to individuals about it. This started with me verbally asking people within my target age range to give a few comments on the product and suggest any improvements that could be made. This method of feedback allowed me to sense the tone of an individual's voice, sense their true opinions. It also allowed me to remove all bias and gain fair feedback. I then asked for feedback from my parents, as I wanted to see if the product appealed to individuals outside my target age range. They both commented on the professionalism, realism and the suitability of the product in regards to its genre. The feedback for this product differed from the ancillary products, as there was so much occurring visually and there were so many different elements of it, it seemed impossible to ask about specifics, as this would have taken too long, and asking more generally would have been too ambiguous and I wouldn't have been able to precisely amend things. I did find that distributing the product on Facebook and Twitter allowed it to be widely distributed and gain high viewing figures on my YouTube channel. This meant that a high number of people were watching my video. Furthermore, distributing the product on these sites meant it was mainly my target audience watching the product, which is how this would be had it have been distributed on music channels such as MTV Rocks during their alternative hour or Freshly Squeezed on Channel 4. Also, the viewing figures reached over 100, suggesting that people who watched the video went back and watched it again, meaning it was interesting and visually appealing enough to spend time finding and re-watching. Once I had gained high viewing figures, I asked my focus group to fill in a general survey about the video, which was mainly just asking about its effectiveness as a promotional product, its realism and the professionalism of its execution. The feedback from this showed that the majority of respondents gave my product a 4 out of 5 in all questions. An example of this is question 2. Is it visually stimulating? 13 out of a potential 19 stated that it was. This was then reinforced by question 5, which asked about the visual appeal of the video and whether it was captivating to watch, in which 10 out of a potential 19 gave this 5 out of 5. This was general feedback which anyone could have responded to, as it required no particular media expertise or knowledge in the concept/connotations created. I figured that the only way to gain feedback on the effectiveness of the video and its concept was to ask other media students if this was clear. I chose to ask my friend and co-media student to watch the video and point out any themes and connotations that were evident. He stated that the idea of a breakup was clear and obvious, as this was created through the use of only briefly seeing the on-screen couple together and then constantly dissed and reappearing together in a ghost-like manner, suggesting the past and present of their relationship combining as the artist reminisces about their time together. This method of acquiring feedback was particularly useful, as although the masses of audiences that would view this video would not be media educated and would probably struggle to notice these connotations, they may instead create their own in order to fit the concept in their own scenario. Negotiated reading, Stuart Hall 1980 and Frank Park in 1972. By distributing this product on Facebook, there was potential for this to be shared by my friends on this site to reach a bigger and wider audience. Although I would not have acquired feedback from this in the form of either a survey or general feedback given in the form of a comment, it meant that more people were watching the video and I was getting higher audience figures from people both in my target audience and not. Unfortunately, unless viewers have a YouTube account, I am unable to see the audience demographic statistics of my video views. This would have been beneficial, as I could have seen exactly who was watching/liking my video. Furthermore, by distributing this product on Twitter, I not only asked my followers to watch the video, but I then extended this by asking my followers to retweet the video in order to further distribute this. Only a couple of people did, yet this meant I extended my audience to another 200 to 400. This tweet included the link to the survey, which meant that there was more potential for me to acquire more feedback from these audience members. Lastly, I have since received little comments and messages from friends regarding the video. Many people have commented on the bubbles I incorporated, saying that added a nice visual element to the video and enhanced the colours and themes throughout. Further comments have since appeared on the YouTube edits of the video that I have uploaded to my channel. These were not feedback as such, but they did not detail areas for improvement, and they were instead more supportive and friendly.